Welcome students, staff, and Carlton community. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the traditional lands referred to as Treaty 6 territory, home of the numerous First Nations. This acknowledgement reaffirms that all people here are beneficiaries of this peace and friendship treaty. For 104 years, our country has observed a day to honor those who died for our freedom. Remembrance Day was first observed in 1919 throughout the British Commonwealth. It was originally called Armistice Day to commemorate the armistice agreement that ended the First World War on November 11, 1918 at 11 a.m., on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Who are Canada's veterans and Canadian Armed Force members? There are approximately 20,000 surviving Canadian veterans of the Second World War and the Korean War. Their average age is 95 years old. There are some 589,000 surviving Canadian veterans who served in the military in the years after the Korean War. Their average age is 60 years old. There are some 95,000 serving Canadian Armed Forces personnel in the regular force and the reserve. Please rise for the singing of an honor song, performed by Carlton students Chaskay, Brody, Staten, Conlon, Ryland, and Carson. Every year on November 11th, Canadians pause in a moment of silence to honor and remember the men and women who have served and continue to serve Canada during the times of war, conflict, and peace. We remember the more than 2,300,000 Canadians who have served throughout our nation's history, and more than 118,000 who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Across Canada and in many other countries, people gather on November 11th to honor and encourage the devotion of brave men and women who have made the supreme sacrifice of dying for their country. The hostilities of the First World War ceased on November 11th, 1918, at 11 a.m. on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The following year marked the first observance of a day to remember and honor those who died, as well as to give thanks for the sacrifices of those who came back from serving their country. Since then, Canadians have fought in other conflicts and may have given their lives so that we might enjoy freedom today. They too should be remembered.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row.
Auprès des croix et dans l'espace, les alouettes devenues lasses.
Scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow.
À nos parents, à nos amis, c'est nous qui reposons ici, au champ d'honneur.
Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die.
Acceptez le défi, sinon les coquelicots se faneront, au champ d'honneur.
In Flanders fields.
Hey Carlton, Corporal Reimer here with the 3rd Battalion Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry Parachute Company out of CFB Edmonton. Quickly just want to say thank you to Mr. Lones for asking me to speak to you guys on Remembrance Day. So just a little bit about my career so far. I've been lucky enough to deploy domestically to fight the fires in British Columbia. I've deployed to Iraq as armed security escort, deployed to Kuwait to help with the intake of Afghan refugees, and most recently I was in Poland working with the Ukrainian refugees. So it's important to remember, as a soldier, we are trained to fight, and we are very good at it, but we're also trained to just give humanitarian assistance whenever it's needed. And honestly, that's probably the most meaningful work you'll get to do in the military. So I'm very thankful and I'm very lucky. Remembrance Day is very important to me. It gives me a chance to reflect and to be thankful for where I live, the rights and freedoms that I have, that we all have. It's important to remember the things that have happened in the past, but I think it's also important to remember the things that are going on in the world right now. There's a lot going on right now, as everyone is, I'm sure, aware, and we're very lucky to live where we live, and some people aren't as lucky. So it's important to remember that and to be thankful and to not waste it. We have a lot of opportunity here. I'm sure there's a lot of bright minds at Carlton. Take a minute to reflect and try and think of what it means to you. Thank you.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Ils ne vieilliront pas comme nous qui leur avons survécu. Ils ne connaîtront jamais l'outrage ni le poids des années. Quand viendra l'heure de crépuscule et celle de l'aurore, nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
Il était jeune, jeune comme nous. Ils ont servi et se sont donnés sans compter. Nous leur promettons de porter leur flambeau et de ne jamais oublier. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
They were young, as we were young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them. We will remember them.
This year marks the 77th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. During the first half of the 20th century, some 1.7 million Canadians were called upon to defend peace and freedom around the world during the First World War, Second World War, and Korean War. Canadian Armed Forces veterans have made many personal and global achievements, along with personal sacrifices, to defend Canada's interests and its values, while contributing to international peace and security. These men and women take their honored place in our country's military history beside their fellow veterans and fallen comrades of Canada's earlier war efforts. Their commitment has earned Canada a worldwide reputation as a country that supports and protects peace. We also remember the brave Canadian peacekeepers who have served in the past and present regions around the world. This year in particular, we remember the Canadian peacekeepers that served under the United Nations Protection Force mission in the Balkans, which began in 1992. Your teachers may have provided you with postcards to write messages of appreciation to veterans who have served in the past and to Canadian Armed Forces members who continue to serve Canada in times of war, military conflict, and peace. More postcards are available at the display. At the end of the service, we invite you to visit one of the 3 areas of the school, Gallery, Rotunda, and the CPAC, to add your postcard or message to the remembrance display in that area. Feel free to leave your own expressions of appreciation other than the postcard. These messages will be collected at the end of the day and delivered to the local Legion for veterans to enjoy on November 11th. Thank you for honoring veterans and Canadian Armed Forces members today.